Welcome back to hemorrdroids.net. We've got a bit of a challenge going on today. Personally, I believe there's 3 phones that are clearly better than all the others right now. The Galaxy S2, the Galaxy Nexus and the Galaxy Note. Personally, I would say the Nexus and the Note are the 2 best that you would be choosing from if you were looking for a new phone. And we're going to pit them against each other today over a variety of tests. The first one being the boot time test. So they're both off at the moment. I'm going to try and turn them both on at the same time. I felt the Nexus. So the Note's already a bit behind, just because it took longer. Both of these, they are unlocked, as you can see the symbols in the bottom there, but they're stock ROMs. All that's happened is they have been rooted. And the Note, despite the slow start, looks like it's... I'm going to wait for it to open its app drawer. Yeah. So the Note takes that one by... not a massive amount. It was quite impressive, to be honest, considering how long it took to actually get to the boot animation, how quickly it then booted after that. For the browser test, I'm trying something slightly different. I've downloaded an app called Velamo, which tests all aspects of the browser, Java, and just how it deals with images, scrolling, and so what I'm going to do is open that up and start. These are both devices are hooked up on Wi-Fi, so it shouldn't, the connection speed are on the same Wi-Fi connection, so they'll have the same speed, same data connection speed. And let me see if I can move the camera so you can kind of see what's going on. I encourage you to download the app yourself, have a play with it, see what your phone scores. So at the top it tells you the different tests that it's running through. The first time you run it, you can have it explain to you what the different tests do, which I did last night. So I've already got a sneak preview of what the score may well be. I should say I've had to do a custom test, as in untick some of them, because the Nexus, it failed on the finger test. I don't know if that's because the application's not compatible with ICS at this point, so it doesn't kind of emulate a person's finger properly. I don't know. So I've had to cut those out, and it's just finished. And now you'll see that actually the Nexus is going to finish up first. And the Nexus scores 860, which I think is a very good score. So the Note, still got 2 more tests to go. Last test. 860, 576. So, quite easily and quite clearly, a win for the Nexus on the browser test. Let's move on. Okay, the next test is the GPS test. This always worries me a little bit because I am indoors. I can't easily go outdoors and film it all and everything. Although the last time I did this, I forget which device it was, it locked very quickly indoors. I've tried to keep it even, so they both have had a GPS lock this morning, around about the same time, kind of half an hour to an hour ago, and I'm about to start it up again. So they should both have a reasonably good memory of where they are, so it should be a level playing field, we hope. And I'm going to use GPS status. And I know the Note's very quick on this as well, so I'm expecting it to blow the Nexus away, to be honest, but we shall see. So the Note is aware of 4 satellites, the Nexus is aware of 1. The Note's got a lock. Oh, no. Wow. They did both look like they locked on at the same time, but as you can see, the Note has many more satellites locked. The Note has a slightly better accuracy. Yeah, wavering between 5 and 10 meters, while the Nexus is still at 15. So, although I think I would hand that one to the Note, but actually the Nexus quite surprised me there. I thought it was going to get blown away, but did a pretty admirable job. Okay, so we'll give a slight edge to the note on the GPS test. Let's move on again. Next we've got a benchmark test. Now a lot of people don't really put much weight in benchmarks. I would probably agree really, it's more about the usability, the sort of the feel that you have when using a device. And I would say right now, and I mean I know how fast the Note is and a lot of people might be quite surprised, but the Nexus has its slickness and smoothness and all that. It is just the smoothest device that I've ever used, I think, really. But anyway, we're going to run a benchmark, not quadrant. Everyone loves quadrant, but as far as I'm aware, it's not set up for dual core devices. One that most people seem quite happy with is Antutu. I don't know if I've pronounced that right or not, but that's the one we're going to run. I'm going to try and start them up at roughly the same time so that we can follow them through the different So the Nexus, now this is the thing, the Nexus has the old GPU as far as I'm aware, and everyone's moaned about how it will perform with games. So why is it whooping the Note's butt? Well, having said that, I don't know what GPU the Note has. Smooth and slick ice cream sandwiches made the Nexus. It will be interesting when the others... Now, I did run this once yesterday, and I can tell you that it's a little bit below what it scored yesterday. It was just over... I think just over 6,000 when I ran it yesterday. I think the RAM was just over 1,000 for instance. Let's wait for the Note. We can compare dual viewing. There we go. So the Note has edged it, not by a great deal. What's that? 5%. So let's have a quick look through the results. So the RAM very similar. The CPU, both scores, the Note blows it away really, which you would expect, I suppose, with a 1.4. It's got the higher clock speed. What I find surprising, the Nexus scores better on the graphics. The database site is fairly similar. And there we go, the SD read and write speeds are a bit slower, and that's possibly a bit unfair, so maybe, you know, if I should perhaps have switched it to reading from the memory instead, and maybe the Note would have even scored even higher. But there we go, so the Note does win the benchmark, but not by a great deal. I'd be very interested to see the Nexus against something like the Galaxy S2, which has the same clock speed. But there we go, Antutu benchmark. Let's move on to the next test. Right, so this is a new test that I'm trying by request, and I'm not sure that this old battered HTC Legend will be quite good enough to do it, but it's a light test. I might look at getting a proper light sensor at some point so we can do this more professionally in future challenges. Both devices set to 100% screen brightness. The Note is the only one that has the option of auto-adjusting screen power. I've turned that off. And they're both on quite a light, well, they're both on the same white screen. So what I'm going to do, because we can get to see the max and the min, so what I'm going to do is hold the Legend over the top of it. It says max 90. Okay, let's reset that. Let's turn off the... No, unless literally it's not. Let's try putting it back over the Note. Does it go back up to 90? Yeah, so from that it would suggest the Note does have a much brighter screen, but I'm not convinced that's the most accurate way for me to test it. But there you go. What I will do is hold them both up for you to get a kind of idea. I think you can see from that the Note does have a brighter screen. Welcome back. Once again, a less than scientific test by us here at hemorrdroids.net, but it should give you some rough idea of the speakers on the two devices. I've got the same bit of music. I'm going to play on both devices. Both devices, the speaker is in on the back. There's the Nexus, there's the Note, and they're both going to just lay down on the surface like that. Both devices are at full volume. Now I did have Volume Plus on the Nexus installed because people said you should do, because they say it's a quiet speaker. I've set that back to 0, rebooted the phone to hopefully make sure that we're sort of at a stock position. Now, we'll see how well this decibel meter works, but quite often I find you can just hear the difference. Let's start at the beginning.
Thank you for making all that noise tonight. We really appreciate it. Far too kind.
So pretty good, touching up on about 70, 71 there, I think. Let's swap over to this side.
Thank you for making all that noise tonight. We really appreciate it. Far too kind.
Now that peaked on 73, so quite interesting. Well, that's very close. That's very close. You might say the very slight edge to the Nexus, but I don't know. You could probably argue either way. On the numbers, each time the note scored like 73, 74, the Nexus came back with 74, 75 of that same sort of section of music. I mean, really, there's very little. You might even call that one a draw. Leave it to you guys to decide. You can hear the speaker on the camera is in a very similar position to both the devices, but to those people, because I've heard a lot of noise about noise. I've heard a lot of people talking about the Nexus having a poor speaker and terrible speaker, and it's a massive letdown. I don't, personally, unless they've got faulty devices, I don't know. I don't see that myself. But there we go. So let's call it a draw. I think the speaker test, but that might put some people at ease who've heard that the Nexus speaker is very poor. Okay, I think we've got one more test to go. So my final test is the opening Angry Birds Seasons test. I'm going to try and press them at exactly the same time, and we'll see. The notes seem to have a slight edge, but maybe not. It's neck and neck. The note did edge it, but again, I'm not sure that's enough. Let's try once more, because I'm just concerned that I might have pressed one before the other. Again, it's very close. See the Nexus one, that one. Okay, so it's 1-1. This is the decider. Isn't it exciting? The note always opens this bit, but this Nexus takes ahead there. Ooh, and the note edged it. I mean, I don't know. Am I being biased if I said I think really you have to call that a draw? There's nothing in it. Maybe not, I don't know. Do I give it the note? So, let's have a look through the test that we did. The boot time was definitely the note that won, but only by an edge. The browser test was quite clearly the Nexus. The speaker test we're going to call a draw. I'll let you guys decide on that one. The GPS test, the note edged it. The benchmark, the note won clearly. And Angry Birds, it's very, very level, but I guess you would have to say it was the note. It won 2 of the 3, but if we did 2 more, very easily the Nexus might have won them. So I think you have to say, head to head, the note does edge the Nexus, but there's very little in it. I mean, it's not like the note can be teasing the Nexus for being underpowered, which is what a lot of people seem to think. That the Nexus came out, they all bashed it for having old technology in it, but the note's a very new device. It's only a month old. And the Nexus, you know, it keeps up with it, let's put it that way. And I mean, the browser test, it blew it away. That's the only one, really, I think, that there was a massive clear winner, and it was the Nexus by a long way. So, and in general usability, as we've said, that's the big sort of test. It's very hard to fault, well, either of them really, to be honest. They're both amazing devices, and as I said at the beginning, they're both, in my opinion, the best two devices on the market at the minute. And maybe this head-to-head has kind of proved that in some ways. So yeah, you could say the Note is the slight winner, but they're very, very similar in their abilities. Anyway, I've given you all the tests. You can draw your own conclusions. Let us know in the comments, and we'll get a Note against the SGS2. I think we've already got a Nexus versus the SGS2. If not, we'll have it up soon. My name's Andy, hemorrdroids.net.